Only way to deal with fear that I found in my life is a couple ways. One of those ways is to turn it on itself and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? If I'm afraid of that, I gotta be more afraid of what I'm gonna miss out on, missing out on my mission, missing out on who I'm supposed to be. In other words, if you're not gonna get rid of fear, then use fear. Use fear or it uses you, it's that simple. So you gotta say, okay, what's the price if I just stay doing this? What's the price? What I need to really get scared if I learn all this and I don't follow through. That's something to be scared about. And then that fear will get you over your fear. It'll push you through. Turn fear on itself. Second way you can do it is use what you've probably heard me say, because I've used it since I was 17, is my little rocking chair test, right? I'm gonna sit myself in my rocking chair, and I'm 85 years old, I'm looking back on my life, and I say, I didn't do this, or I did. So when it comes to these two fears, these primary fears, they're not gonna go away. So what we've got to be able to do instead is we've got to be able to say, okay, when that fear shows up, how do I get rid of the illusion that I'm not enough or I'm not loved? Well, number one, you can love yourself, right? Can you love yourself, yes or no? Most people say, but I don't know how to love myself. Well, how do you love a stranger? If you met somebody and you wanted to know, I love you, and you wanted to experience that you love them, what would you do? Someone tell me, what would you do to try and make somebody know you love them? You tell them you love them. How many of you tell yourself, I love you? I love you, Tony. We live in a culture where, what's the matter with you? That's egotistical, that's crazy. No, in the Bible it says, love thy neighbor like thy... Interesting. That implies that you love yourself first. And we all know intellectually, whatever you believe religiously doesn't matter, whether you believe in the Bible or anything else, we all know that if you don't love yourself, you got nothing to give anybody else. You can't give somebody what you don't have. So you tell them, how else would you let somebody know you love them? What else would you do? Take them sailing. Okay, that would probably work for you too then, wouldn't it? You'd spend time with them, wouldn't you? Most of us spend the least amount of time with ourselves than anybody today, in terms of real quality time. What else would you do? Do things to themselves. Kiss yourself. Right? And in our culture, it's weird, but you know what's interesting? We do all these things for other people. Do something for them. Offer things, create things. We don't do that for ourselves. You don't love yourself because you don't believe you love yourself because you don't do the things that you do for other people that you love. You do the same things that you do for other people, or even similar things, you feel similar feelings. It's not that difficult to reassure yourself, but as long as you have to count on everybody else responding a certain way, you got to live in fear. And that's the piece that we want to avoid as far as things are concerned. Now, he's telling me that he has a human fear, and what he's got to do is get around it. The way he gets around it is he builds himself up, and he builds himself up by changing what things mean. As long as you say no to me, it means I have failed and I'm rejected. I'm going to have a hard time putting myself out there because that's putting out my deepest fear on earth. But if I change what your no means to me, which do we have that power, yes or no? Then if it means to me, you just said, no, it's not the right time for you. Or I didn't present this effectively enough today. Whatever I make up something else, then with a different meaning, it feels totally different.
I mean, look, you and I'm sure you do, and I'm transparent, so I talk about this. I know I'm at the, closer to the end of my career than the beginning of it.
I don't think so.
No?
No, because part of delivering this message, when you're in alignment with your purpose, I believe that gives you more time on the universe. Just look at me. I'm 72, but I don't look it. I don't have a 72-year-old energy. And there's a difference between that physiological age and that spiritual age. And I think when you're in alignment and doing what you're supposed to do that pleasures God, it keeps you young. You have the energy of a 20-year-old. That allows you to be
But I mean, there's going to be a time when you and I are not live in these bodies on a stage.
Without any question. Okay. And I'm not looking forward to that.
Les Brown.
Turn your wounds into wisdom. You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. Some people will call them failures. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction. It's just an experience.
I called unhappy customers, not happy customers. You know why happy customers do business with you. It's an easy call. You're amazing, Patrick. We love you. You're so great. You always do this for us. You always do that for us. I mean, you're just such an amazing person. I'm not learning there. I don't need more people to just keep telling me how amazing I am. I need people to tell me these are the 3 areas that we could improve in, right? So I called customers that weren't happy. I called clients that weren't happy. I called agents that weren't happy. I called employees that weren't happy. And I said, tell me what happened. And they gave me so much data. You have no idea how much data they gave me. So much data, to the point where I got obsessed more with those conversations than the conversations of people that were fully happy. And next thing you know, things kept getting better and better and better. I want you to call 3 to 5 unhappy customers. And here's what the script sounds like. Hey John, this is Patrick giving you a call. Patrick who? Patrick David, you and I did business together about 1.5 years ago, and he decided to go a different direction. Oh, hey, what's going on? Listen, I'm busy. What can I help you with? Look, John, I'm not calling to sell you. I'm not calling to get you back into the business. I'm not calling you resell you, upsell you, anything like that. I just have one reason why I'm calling you. I am really obsessed with getting better, and you were one of my favorite customers that I lost. And so I just wanted to call you for you to tell me, what was it that happened for you to make a decision to go to a different direction? What was it? And there's 2 things you're looking for. One, you're asking, was it me? Was it something I did? Or the second thing you're asking is, was it a part of the product? The part of the product is for you to know what adjustments to make and recommendations to make the next time. The part with you is permanent. This is an area where you can figure out a way to improve yourself, your game, and they'll advance you to the next level.
And I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again until the point where I understood it. And then I went into becoming an entrepreneur. And I did it, and I did it, and did it, and I'm still learning. And I'm still learning about real estate. And the reason, in 1966, I got into oil when I went to work for the Standard Oil Company. So today, I'm still focusing. I invest in oil and oil and oil, and I don't diversify. You know, it doesn't mean I don't lose. Sometimes I lose, sometimes I make mistakes and all this. But I just don't buy good as with all the bad. If you're going to be successful as an investor, you know, diversification is good for the average investor. If that's what you want to be, have a good life. But what I'd rather do is be able to know the good ones from the bad ones, the good investments from the bad investments, the good advisors from the bad advisors, and what's good for me and what's not good for you. Because what I do is not necessarily what's going to work for you, and vice versa here. So that's why I really think instead of diversification or diversifying, the new rules of money say follow one course until you're successful, and then keep doing it. Because once you find that way of being successful, you can do it again and again and again.
And tomorrow, if you and me wake up tomorrow morning, is it not a fantastic thing? 1 million people did not wake up. You woke up. Is it not a great thing? Just look at the ceiling and smile. You are still awake. You're still there. And for many, many millions of people, somebody who's dear to them did not wake up. So just check those 5, 6 people around you. They all woke up. Wow, it's a fantastic day. You woke up, and everybody who matters to you around you woke up. Is it not fantastic day?
Yes.
You don't think so?
Yes. Yes.
You don't seem to think so.
Yes.
Because the problem is just this, you're living with an idea that you're immortal. When I say you're immortal, you're not actually thinking you're immortal, but you're not conscious of your mortality. If you're not conscious of your mortality, somewhere you think you're immortal, isn't it? How many moments in a day are you conscious that you're mortal? If you were conscious, would you have time to crib? Would you have time to fight with somebody? Would you have time to do some rubbish with your life? If you knew, if you are conscious that you are mortal, you would do nothing other than what is absolutely needed for you and everybody around you. This one thing if you do, if you just remind yourself, you don't think this is a negative thing. Death is not a negative thing. It's the only thing which has added value to your life. If you're here forever, you would be unbearable.
Yes, yes.
Isn't it? Aren't we glad everybody dies one day?
Thinking small is what gets great things done. Verse 63, achieve greatness in little things. Take on difficulties while they are still easy. Do great things while they are still small. The sage, one of my daughter's names, the sage, does not attempt anything very big and thus achieves greatness. Greatness comes from being in the moment, here, present, in the now. The sage confronts difficulties, but never experiences them. This is the idea of thinking small. And finally, I'd like to see you change from this thought. Change from seeing yourself as separate to seeing yourself as connected to everyone and everything in the universe.